Hey everybody, I got here a review for the first two issues of Doctor Star. Or I should say Starman. Cough cough. It's Doctor Star. Um, it's this comic is created by Dark Horse. It's created by Jeff Lemire and it's published by Dark Horse. And it is basically set in the Black Hammer universe. Even though I don't really know anything about Black Hammer, I don't know what that exactly what it is or what it's about. But this caught my attention because it has a very obvious, uh, you know, inspired by the golden age of DC Comics or inspired by the Starman stories. So that's what kind of drew me to it. Apparently, I think Black Hammer, is about like the present day superhero world and that world, and this is basically showing like their version of the JSA, their version of a golden age of heroes. So that's what really drew me to this. But it's really actually really good. It's just really good two issues. I thought it was very well written. The art's pretty good for the most part. The art, like a lot of art, the people are not drawn quite that well to me. But the art really stands out when it's showing like action sequences or when it's showing like cosmic kind of entities or just machinery and stuff. Like there's a lot of artists nowadays that tend to not draw people that all that realistic and well, but they tend to draw like the monsters and things really cool and get really abstract with stuff. So the art pretty is pretty cool in some panels, but in some panels it seems like it drags a little bit. It especially seems to drag in the present day artwork, like set in the present day of the world and it kind of makes sense because in the present day everything is more sad and more gray and more depressing, so the art kind of reflects that. The art looks more grainy, it looks more dirty and depressing looking. It just looks like less detail, less work put into it. So which is kind of interesting to me how it looks that way. But this is basically a comic book that follows the history of this character all the way from his beginnings in the 40s. Being a scientist that's trying to work on this way of harnessing energy from the stars or whatnot. And some G-men come to him, basically offering him unlimited funding and research for him to develop a weapon out of the energy, which he eventually does. But he uses it to be a superhero instead or whatever, and he fights alongside this very Justice Society of America inspired team that even has their own Hawkman named Wingman and their own Wildcat character. There was a bunch of characters that looked straight out of basically carbon copies of the JSA characters. You'll see them here in this next panel. But yes, very interesting story. I liked it. It goes throughout the years. It starts in the 1940s. It goes to the 1950s, and then it jumps back and forth to present day. So he's very much a Starman type of character. He's a scientist. He invents a device that allows him to harness the energy of the stars, and he basically gives him the same power set. He flies around while he's holding the little scepter thing. He shoots people with energy and stuff like that. He's indestructible while he's got it in his hands. It's very, 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 very similar to Starman. I like the design of the staff though. It's not really so much a staff as it is it looks more like a candle. It looks like a very fancy light bulb or candle that he's holding, like a torch almost. I thought the design for it was pretty cool. The design for the costume is pretty cool. But where this book really kind of stands out to me was the writing. I thought it was very good. Especially the whole first issue. It's really just. It's basically just his memoirs, him reflecting on his past and where he went wrong as a father and as a husband, and how he let his work and then after his work he let his superhero career just get in the way of everything else. And it's really emotional. It's very interesting because I kind of don't want to spoil too much, but you find out towards the end of the first issue that his son and his wife have gotten cancer over the years, and it's implied that he's the one that gave it to them because of his ability, his powers to give off radiation or whatnot, and long-term exposure. So I thought that was really interesting because his son's wife blames him for the dad for causing the cancer on them, and no, they don't want to see him, and it's he has this whole speech about how it's a very realistic speech about how a parent isn't supposed to see their kid dying, and it's supposed to be the other way around. the kid's supposed to be at the bedside of the parent. This is not the way it's supposed to go, but normal has never been the way their lives has been. I just thought that was really good writing. It's really very realistic and very relatable if you're a parent that happens to have had your kids die on you. I mean, it's very much a realistic thing and very strong, heavy hitting thing there. Another thing I thought was really well done that felt really realistic within this superhero world was, he goes to a bar, and the bar is a local bar, and it has a lot of the superheroes from the Justice Society team. They're there, and they're all washed up. They're all older, and he has a really good conversation with Wingman about like the new age of heroes and how they just shoot people, and like since when did just shooting people become heroic and qualifies as a superhero. I thought that was a really good conversation. They're talking about how the generations have changed. It's very realistic and really kind of reflects. Also, don't forget to check out some of my other videos and playlists, and just subscribe to that channel, man. I really appreciate all the followers I've been getting recently, and see you guys later. And really reflects how the modern day generations are looked at by older generations, like baby boomers and such. So yes, very interesting. I literally like this comic. I really did like it a lot. I definitely recommend it to anybody that is a fan of like classic Golden Age comics, especially DC's classic Golden Age comics, and just that kind of old retro feel of the true age of heroes, as they would be called, and how things change over the years. Also, if you like Kingdom Come, you'll probably like this. So definitely check it out, guys.